Okay, excuse me. This is Mob Wife Season 1, Episode 9, and this is my review on it. I'm sorry I sound a little down. I'm sick. I hate having asthma. Okay, so let's get this started. So this episode is very interesting. And the show starts off, I mean, Carla, you know what? Carla, her scenes be so dry to me. And you know what? In the previous episode, in episode 8, I didn't really touch on this, but when Karen, Drita, and her were sitting at the table, and her son Joe was acting up. She was telling the girls, "Oh, he's acting up like that because his father's not around to discipline him." And I could agree with that because a young boy needs a father in his life. But props to Drita for at least coddling him. Well, not coddling him because it's not always good to coddle a boy, but for at least showing him some attention and at least speaking to him. She honestly could care less, but then hey, I wasn't expecting anything much from Carla because if she's okay with a man who touches her girlfriend's asses to be hanging around her kids, then yeah, Carla doesn't really give a damn about anything. So, anyways, speaking of Carla, in this episode, she went to go pick up Joe with the kids, and the kids were excited. And she was speaking about it in the car with her friend. She was saying how um her son wanted to not mop floors because her Joe, her husband, ex-husband, was playing basketball because that's what they do in jail. And her son was like, "Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to go to jail." But then he was telling his son, "Oh, you know I had to mop floors. You want to do that?" He was like, "No, no, no." So it was kind of cute, but it was dry. So um Renee meets up with her friend, and it's kind of cool. Renee, she be hanging around with black people. Renee, she be doing her. She down with the brown. I'm so stupid. But anyway, Renee is, talking about Junior. And she's so caught up in Junior. And once again, her friend is telling her that, he's problems. And your personal problems interferes with your business. Because Renee is a fashion stylist for 50 Cent. Um, oh my god. He's in Wu Tang Clan. I don't know, but the Ghostface Killer. He was on couples therapy. And her friend is like, you do good work, but anytime you get caught up with him, with Junior, you mess up and you allow it to interfere with your work. And Renee was, taking it in, but we all know that she's still hung up on Junior. She not willing to give him up anytime soon. I'm wondering when they got divorced, who filed for divorce. I'm assuming he did because she's still in love with him. And um, I must cover this very briefly. Drita calls Carla. They talk about the Joe incident, and of course, Drita would love for Lee to come home. That's basically what it is. And it's the same thing with Karen. Is offering Renee advice about Junior. And what do you know? Renee, suspects that he's cheating because, she saw text messages from other women. And Karen is like, what do you expect? He's not going to change. So Renee is pretty much set herself up for that one. So now Renee's in the therapist's office talking about Junior, and pretty much her therapist is saying you can move on, but you choose not to move on. Like I said, she chooses to be with him because she's in love with him. She's still caught up in that lifestyle. Excuse me, that I'm a mafia princess, and this is my, I guess, Don thug of a husband, whatever. and she has all the power to let go of him and be happy, but she's choosing not to do that. She's holding herself back. And the therapist was being like any other therapist. When your client is talking bullshit, you gotta call your client out on the bullshit. I mean, that's not the clinical terms to use, but that's pretty much what a therapist was doing. So, Carla and Drita, like I said previously, you got Carla and Drita on one team, and you got Karen and Renee on another team. That's how it is. And they're at the gym. They're talking about the whole Joe situation. And, Drita is like just thinking about how much she wants Lee to come home. And, Carla's just pretty much saying that how hard it is for Joe to adjust to living outside of society. And she's worrying about Lee adjusting. That's pretty much the whole gist of the conversation. It's so repetitive throughout this episode, especially the beginning of it. And I actually do like this scene. Like I said, anything where it's showing the kids, and this is the time where I'm seeing Renee actually being a mother to AJ, because in the first episode when Renee was breaking down and crying and cussing in front of AJ, it's like, girl, who's the parent here? But this time she was acting as a mother, and you know what? One thing I do like about Renee, she's always hugging her son. She's always like, touching him, being affectionate with him, and that's a good thing. But she's telling AJ, I don't want you to be like your father and your grandfather, which is good, because if AJ ends up like his grandfather in the freaking penitentiary, that's not a good look. So I'm glad she's trying to put him on the right path. So this is the meat of the episode. This is where it gets really interesting. Drita and Karen, they meet at a restaurant to discuss Karen's book. So, Karen tells her that the first chapter is finished, and she gives Drita a copy to read. And she's pretty much telling Drita, like, if you have any questions or concerns, you can tell me. And you could see Drita, you could see in her face, she's tensed up, she's uncomfortable with it. She's like, oh my God, what is she gonna write about my husband? Now, I'm gonna go into this, because this is very interesting. The problem, okay, I don't think Karen's wrong. Let me say that, because Karen and Lee dated for 7 years. Obviously, Lee was a big part of Karen's life. 7 years is a long time to be with someone. Now, I feel like Karen was given the book to let her know, like, listen, I'm not going to slander your husband's name. I'm just going to talk about, how he affected my life. And I did read parts of Karen's book, and I did read that part, and I'm not going to say what is in her book, because you should go out there and get it. It is a very good book. I just feel like Drita is so paranoid with that, because she knows that she went with Lee without telling Karen. And my whole thing is that if you're worried about what your friends are going to say about your man, you probably should not go with your friends' ex-boyfriends. Go look for another man if you're going to be that freaking paranoid about it. So, Drita is not comfortable with it, and rather than Drita telling Karen that she's not comfortable with it, she just gets up and she freaking leaves. And that's what I don't respect about Drita. If you have a problem with something, just something or someone, just tell them what the problem is. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna see how I can finish this. I'm so sorry for this video being messy. So, I guess I'm gonna end it on this note. I'm so sorry for this recap being messy, but peace out.